What's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Stranger Days. And YouTube is a very interesting place to not only make your career and earn your living and reside on predominantly. It's an interesting place just to watch the wheels turn, to watch controversy after controversy play out, to watch who rises and who falls happen. I mean, everyone who does this has their own good moments and their bad, myself included, obviously. But it's interesting when it gets to be conversations about the top, right? The cream of the crop, if you will. I'm not talking necessarily in terms of just good content or good quality content. It has everything to do with just who has the numbers. Now, the numbers, if you just want to talk about that for a quick second, ultimately, and this is me being just truthful, don't really mean much. Your subscriber count doesn't mean much. People like to use it as a weapon against you. Oh, you've only got only so many subscribers, therefore your opinion is worthless. It's not really true. It all boils down to view count, not subscribers. So people who like to lord that over everyone else's head, especially YouTubers who do this full time and know better, stop it. You're being dumb. But on the subject of PewDiePie and T-Series, this one I've been following for the last couple of days, and I find it to be fascinating. Not because PewDiePie is going to be dethroned here in the next couple of days, if not before then. It's because it feels like people are anxious for it to happen, that people are anxious for it to take place. They are excited, they're elated, they're kind of erect, if you will, to watch PewDiePie fall, especially those that are on the left. And that is something that I think is fascinating. Again, we live in this weird world where there's a whole bunch of call out culture, right? Call out culture, cancel culture, the drama, all of these things happen, especially on YouTube. It's the bread and butter of many, many, many channels. And it's hard to not wade into. To be honest with you, people might argue that this video is wading into the drama because I'm talking about PewDiePie versus T-Series. But the thing is it showcases also a cultural shift in certain marketplaces and where things are going to go in the next couple of years. So first and foremost, let me kind of start off by saying this one. There are, 1.5 billion people that use YouTube every single month, right? In the next couple of years, 2 billion more people in this earth are going to come online, which means that it's going to see a larger influx of users to YouTube, who by this point, people in those countries probably know what YouTube is, but they may not be able to access it, like in Pakistan, where it's banned in the entire country, right? But in other places around the world, they know what it is, they just don't have access to it. And as the internet expands and those countries are able to then go into that marketplace or come online and go on YouTube, we're going to see this massive, massive, massive increase of viewers that are going to be coming in. And the thing with that is, though, is they're not going to be English. They're not going to be English speaking. They're not going to be American. They're going to be from other countries on the far side of the world that don't relate to us at all, which basically means American YouTubers have nothing to worry about with this, either the positive or the negative, right? Because, well, quite frankly, your audience is probably not going to grow. However, if you are a person in those countries, you have the opportunity to become a star and a celebrity in those countries, because that's going to be the emerging market. So watch a lot of people coming out of those nations when this shift actually does happen. And that's what I'm talking about here. With you have the Western world versus the Eastern world, or really the West versus everybody else. And that's where PewDiePie falls in. So PewDiePie, YouTube's not, I don't want to say first biggest star, but definitely their biggest now, right? Or at least in terms of subscribers, those numbers. But if you want to look at pure demographics and pure watch time, Logan Paul runs circles around PewDiePie. Shane Dawson runs circles around PewDiePie with like 6 million subscribers versus 67 million. Literally 1/10 the number runs absolute circles in terms of views around PewDiePie. A lot of those guys do. A lot of those guys do. And a big reason for that is because PewDiePie is just kind of a channel people subscribe to. I guarantee you there's a lot of dead accounts that have subscribed to PewDiePie that just don't watch the content. He has a dedicated audience of a couple million, which again is nothing to like be shocked and awed at. Like, it makes sense, but it's not as big as it used to be. He used to pull in more videos or more views per video when he was doing gaming content, when he was talking about gaming and just doing let's plays. Now he does meme reviews, and he talks about current social issues pertaining to YouTube and things like that. And ever since he had his fall from grace last year, he's been more himself. He's been more Felix and less PewDiePie. And that's been something that I believe has worked out well for him in regards to getting to know him as a person. A lot of people, I think, put on an act, put on a face when doing YouTube. And I think to an extent, all of us do, right? You know, like people who meet me in person are like, oh no, you're kind of a lot like who you are in your videos, when you're animated and when you're on, but otherwise I just kind of chill out, you know, whatever. But the reason why this is important, the reason why this whole T-Series thing is important is because it shows you the emerging market of YouTube in other countries, right? T-Series is an Indian-based YouTube channel that is all about Bollywood and Indian stuff. It uploads multiple videos per day, kind of like I do. It's way more views. You know, it talks about Bollywood, which is huge, right, in that part of the world, especially India. And it just gets more and more and more people as it emerges in that country. That's the whole thing. It's pretty much isolated to just India for the most part. I mean, Bollywood has a foothold in some other parts of the world. I mean, but when you look at it just in terms of influence and everything else, it's not as much as you might think, right? But in that country, Bollywood is huge. In that country, Bollywood is life in many ways. In that country, this is where we're seeing people laser focused on one channel, laser focused into one entity. And that is why this whole thing is interesting to me, because looking at T-Series and how it's really only one population in the world, right? One part of the population in the world is so focused on the type of content that it puts out because it's so relevant to their culture and relevant to their society and their way of life that PewDiePie is not. PewDiePie isn't. PewDiePie does gaming stuff and he talks about certain, you know, current social events. And he's got all of these people that really like him for those things, but he cannot compete with something that is now considered a cultural phenomenon. Right. Not to say that Bollywood hasn't been a cultural phenomenon or a cultural icon in India for years, but I'm referring to it from the sense of being a YouTube channel. That's the cultural phenomenon. And that's what's going to be pushing it towards the top. Now, here's the thing with that, though, is we're going to be seeing a lot more of this in those countries. That's why I wanted to talk about that. We're going to be seeing a lot more of these stories of these channels that deal with culture in certain countries blowing up, because that's going to be like the one source people go to. It's going to be the one place people go to. It's going to be the one channel that they go to. Kind of like the way I view it personally is kind of like old news radios back, or radio stations back in the day. You'd get like the one station per county or the one station per state. So everyone would just tune in to that one outlet, because that one outlet is what controls it. And when YouTube goes to these other countries, and I'm not trying to say that India doesn't have more cultural diversity and whatnot, or have more freedom, but you get to some of these third world countries that are going to have state sponsored news YouTube channels. And then it's basically everyone who wants to get news on YouTube in that country, which, let's be fair, will be pretty much everyone, is going to rocket to those particular channels, which is then going to become a new form of ad revenue for those states sponsored media companies, which is then going to allow for a lot more fake news and a lot more other stuff to come out from state sponsored. We all know state sponsored news is never good, but this is going to be a new norm going forward. This is going to be a new thing going forward. So watching T-Series overtake PewDiePie is significant, I think, for a number of reasons. Because for one, you've got, you know, YouTube's biggest star, just in terms of numbers, being overtaken by like almost what feels like just a collection channel that is catering to one specific country. Now, a large country with a large population of people, very large population of people, but ultimately that's what it's catering to. So those people are laser focused on it. It's a very, very, very niche market in regards to its geographical location and the type of content it puts out, but it works. And we're going to see more things like that in the future from other countries as it expands to them. And so that's the interesting thing here. That's the interesting aspect of it. YouTube is going to open itself up to the rest of the world, but it's opening itself up to the rest of the world that is so closed off from the rest of the world that that particular side of things is still going to remain the same, just from a digital outlet. Because just imagine, you're going to hear a story like, oh yeah, Nambia for some reason. Like, let's say Nambia. I'm pretty sure there's YouTube in Nambia, but like, let's say there wasn't. And then, you know, high-speed internet goes to Nambia. They all got Wi-Fi. They all jump on YouTube. And now certain channels are blocked. Like you can't get on Vivo. You can't get on, you know, PewDiePie. You can't get on all these other channels. T-Series is blocked, right? It's all blocked. You can't do it. It's because it's illegal in the country. But you can go to the state-sponsored content. You can go to sponsored content that the state approves of. It's going to drive all that traffic to those places and further control the narrative, which to me is freaky. Now, I'm not saying T-Series is up to anything nefarious. I don't think it is. I also don't know much about it in that regard to suggest that it may or may not be, but it does kind of lead us down this path for what's coming next. So yeah, the T-Series versus PewDiePie situation is very fascinating because it marks a cultural shift in YouTube. It marks a shift in this platform that that is going to be very interesting to see where things go, because once really, I want to say, countries get involved in this, we're going to see something real fascinating come out of it. And I don't know what that is just yet. This is more of a speculation sort of thing. Me kind of just put my thoughts out there. But anyway, I don't know. If you guys think I'm crazy, let me know. If you think I got a point or I'm onto something, let me know. Do you think this is even something to really care about? PewDiePie losing the crown. Is it worth all of the commentary and cheering that we've seen from certain people out there? I'm curious to know that one as well. Let me know down in the comment section. If you guys made it this far, type in PewDiePie in the chat so I know. Be sure to thumbs up the video, subscribe, become a channel member, join below, and or Patreon, either way. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.